What odd or unusual preferences have you developed due to growing up poor? I still can't bring myself to write in Mad Lib books, or on things that could be reused. Growing up ultra poor, it was a rare treat to get something frivolous, but Mad Libs were also semi-educational, so every once in a while I would get a new Mad Lib book from my dad. But I felt a lot of anxiety about wasting them by writing directly in them. If I numbered the blanks and then wrote on a separate sheet of paper with the corresponding numbers, I could reuse the books over and over again. Being really poor made me live in this awful anxiety-driven state of don't use it up because you might not get any more anytime soon, and you better use it all and not waste anything, which made me overthink and overanalyze my actions. I was confronted by this preference to not mess things up in my master's degree program, because the prof would expressly tell me it was okay to write on the handouts because she would share the digital copies with us, so we would have a clean copy to use in our own classes later, and I still couldn't do it. Using plastic grocery bags as trash bags. Don't really see the point in using actual garbage bags. Garbage bags, leftovers from your grandma's bags, clothes bags, lunch bags, the all-around reusable bag. Anytime someone tries to buy me food or anything for me, I always try to go for the dollar menu or try to go for the lowest amount, even if they say buy whatever. Not letting anyone in the house. Operating under a barter system with friends. Where I grew up there wasn't much money, so people often bartered goods, services, and often exchanged small handmade gifts as payment. Then I moved and discovered that wealthier people do not like this at all. Even though I don't have to as much, I still calculate how many hours I have to work in order to afford something to decide if it is a need or a want. Do I want to work 2.5 hours to fill my gas tank, or 2.5 hours to buy a single shirt? I want the shirt, but the shirt isn't going to get me to work. I really want a Switch and several new games. I'll have to work at least 9 days to afford the Switch and the 3 games I want. And after I've worked those 9 days, I can't justify spending the money on the Switch and the games. Yup, I do that too. When you start comparing purchases to hours of work, it starts getting hard to spend real fast. I legit cringe when I buy anything slightly expensive, and I find myself constantly buying the cheap-ass store brand products instead of name brand crap. Dated a richer girl who told me she had never had Chef Boyardee or Spaghettius before but was disgusted by them. Apparently her parents had always told her growing up that canned food was for dogs. What the frick? Her saying that hit especially close to home because I eat Spaghettius with a grilled cheese at least 3 times a week. My dad grew up even poorer than me and he won't eat Chef Boyardee because it is so crappy. I like cheap wine. Even when my budget allows for a $75 bottle, I'll buy the $10 bottle. I still prefer thin, rough bath towels. Big fluffy towels are too fluffy. It feels weird when fluffy towels get wet. Yes, if the towel is too fluffy it feels like it isn't doing its job. Not sure if odd or unusual, but my parents used to tell me eat all the food served since we were poor, and sometimes they wouldn't eat so I could have a full serving of food. I'm no longer poor but I still eat the full plate no matter how full I am. This messed me up royally as a kid. Now I just go without and eat leftovers from the plates of the kids I watch for friends and family. They think it is funny that I'm only hungry when cooking and when everyone else is done. I hope they never figure out how poor I am. Toast with butter and cinnamon is my favorite go-to for breakfast. I will have to try that tomorrow morning. Sounds great to me. Eating fast. Had 4 siblings and only so much food was made for dinner. If you didn't eat fast, you didn't eat. Yep, I know the feeling. However, I learned to eat fast from prison. Haven't served time since '94 but I still wolf down my food to this day. It's a hard habit to break. I am, to this day, unable to manage my money. Going from not being able to spend anything to having at least $300 left for whatever I want made me spend recklessly. You'd think it would be the opposite growing up poor, but spending feels so good. This is fairly common. Most people in your situation will buy things since experience has taught them they don't know when they will have money to spend on things again. So they end up spending it all, thus having no more money. I just buy 1 pair of trainers and wear them until they fall off my feet, then buy a new pair. I make good money as an adult but I still do this. I also don't buy branded clothes. I worked with a guy and we earned the same money, yet he collected limited edition trainers and drove an expensive car. I just couldn't comprehend the waste in money. I cycle everywhere because it is good for health. I moved to Switzerland in a few weeks for a job that pays 2.5 times my current salary, and I still intend to cycle everywhere. I love Little Caesars $5 pizza more than fancy brick oven pizza. BC spending that much gives me too much anxiety to enjoy the food. Not having a lot of clothes. I can't stand a cluttered closet, and having more than like 3 pairs of shoes seems excessive to me. Ditto. I had 4 pairs of shoes once and I felt like I was suffocating, but they were all necessary. 1 pair for work, slip resistant, 1 for church, 1 for just daily use, and 1 pair of gym shoes. Not filling up the gas tank because you might really need the money later. $10 at a time. Save another $10. That's food for a week just in case. There were 5 of us growing up, and so we always had our good clothes and our everyday clothes. We changed out of our good clothes as soon as we got home from school, and I still have this habit to this day. I change out of my work clothes and into lounge around the house I don't care clothes as soon as I get home. Love me a can of beans. If I have no dinner, no problem, I got a can of beans. Beans are also super healthy and food for your digestive system. Off-brand foods, so much cheaper. I can't wrap my head around people who don't buy the store brand at least most of the time. At the store I shop at, it's usually about half the price, and I can't tell the difference, if there even is one. I can sleep anywhere. Slept on the floor for a good couple of years, and can handle heat pretty well cause we didn't have AC. It was 1 window unit, until senior year. Can literally watch anything and be entertained cause we only had 1 local channel 10 station. Saying all this sounds like I grew up in the dang 50s, but this was all in mid 2000s lol. I've gotten used to not having a bed frame and ended up using just the mattress and box spring and having old flat pillows instead of new fluffed up ones. I still buy used clothes. Me too. I try to say it's because I want to be environmentally conscious, but really I just can't bring myself to spend more than $6 on a top. I eat a lot of frozen chicken pot pies. The crust is amazing. Lots of people mix it all up. I eat the crust last, but hate crust on actual pie. I developed a dislike of wearing new shoes. I prefer old, worn out shoes. The new pairs feel too rigid. Keeping all my clothes even though I'll never wear them. I didn't have much growing up, so now I feel like I need to keep everything. A close friend grew up very poor and unsupported. Things were always a competition between him and his brothers, so he maintained that mentality into adulthood in many respects. Fast forward to us going to a Smash Bros tournament. He's egging me on while I'm playing other people, but I'm sincerely supportive of him when he goes up for his own match. As we leave the store he basically says, "Wow, I was in butthole to you while you were constantly cheering me on. I feel kinda bad now." He just prefers being competitive in nearly any aspect, though it's certainly gotten calmer lately. I get freaked out if my pantry isn't full. It doesn't even matter if it's with food I like. I just have this fear of not having food in the house. Same. I hoard non-perishables. Not turning on the heater no matter how cold it gets. Just layer up and lots of blankets. Mac and cheese with tuna. Cheap but so good. Saving every cent I can. I'm talking 80-cent versus 60-cent cans of beans. And never buying actual brand name anything. Pinching pennies never seems to leave you. I ignore the dates on a lot of food. The milk I smell before I use to make sure it's not sour. Constantly checking the bread for mold when I know it's past the date. Smelling the meat before I cook it to make sure it's okay. Unless something is like 6 or more months past the date, it's usually good. The expiration is just the warning that means you have to start checking it. This shouldn't be a poor thing. Food waste is so terrible, and most of those dates are either inaccurate, mean best before, which is about quality not edibility, and with some things you can pick cut off the mold like cheese, maybe a bad fruit in a bunch, cooking it more thoroughly or cooking it early to then eat a couple days later etc. Buying cheap things and making peace with the fact that they will eventually break. It may not taste good or it won't fit me. instead of investing in something long lasting. I can travel. I'd love to. I could probably afford to now, but dropping any amount of money on a trip seems insane to me. I grew up never really going anywhere outside of a 3-hour drive and only stayed in hotels maybe like 3 times while I was under 18. It also feels weird to be in debt, but managing it. I have medical bills that I am paying off and credit card stuff, but it's all pretty manageable. Growing up my mom constantly would get payday loans. We had bill collectors calling non-stop about medical debt, and my mom maxed out every credit card she owned. So I was taught that debt was horrible and you could never get out of it. Also, I really love microwave tortillas and cheese as a whole meal. That and lettuce, cheese, and ranch wrapped up in a tortilla. I think back on it, though, and I'm really not sure how my parents raised me with how much they made. I make double now what both of my parents' combined income was when I was in high school, and I really don't even make that much. I feel that debt thing. My parents somehow declared bankruptcy twice, which is strange because they never spent money on us, and I can't imagine what they did spend money on because fake credit cards don't help with buying drugs. My husband and I have some manageable debt, but the panic passes through my mind once in a while. Plus-sized women. The only skinny chicks in the hood were Coke W. I'm plus-sized and losing weight quickly right now. I've come to believe being fat in the first place, for me, has a lot to do with never knowing if we would have enough food from week to week. Also, I grew up with the mentality that if it's free, take it and take as much as you can. Leftovers are my jam. I take home friends' leftovers. I have no shame. I can find a good way to reheat just about anything. Expiration dates are like yellow lights. The concept of selling a car is entirely foreign to me. We drive cars until they die so completely that even the junkyard doesn't want to pay for them. Keeping the lights off almost all the time, or biking everywhere. I like fake maple syrup better than the real stuff. Mrs. Butterworth for life. Only ever buying clothes if there's a really good sale. I never go out to buy new clothes. I love walking everywhere. If it's within a 60-minute walk, sometimes even longer, I am that person that will walk and wants everyone to join me for the exercise and adventure. When everyone else is begging me to take a 5-10 minute Lyft Uber, heck no. Why would I pay for something when I can get exercise and have a pleasant stroll for free? It's so nice to walk around and see your city. People my friends will pay a $5 Uber to not walk 5 minutes in the relatively okay part of downtown La. But I enjoy walking around and seeing the buildings, people, hot dog stands, random YouTubers, which I would have totally missed out on had I gotten an Uber and started scrolling IG. Little strolls make you appreciate the little things in life. Only buying clothes for back to school. In the working world, this turns into only buying clothes for a new job. I don't like giving or receiving opulent frivolous gifts. I always feel harshly like that money should be saved or spent on something practical. I like splurging when it's for something special for someone else. I hate buying something nice that I really want for myself, and worse, when someone else goes out of their way to give me something nice. I used to enjoy just eating a tube of saltines with butter. When people use 2-3 paper towels to dry their hands off when it can be done with just one sheet. This cat is shocked that you haven't liked this video yet. Like it fast so they can calm down. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.